Usually on the trail, you need to look out for things on the ground. Being careful for snakes, not to step on a lizard, kicking your foot on a rock. But today, I had to be wary of the skies. I had great ambitions on day 26 to get an early start, get kicking off straight away. Woke up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning and discovered that the tent and much of my surroundings had been covered in frost. So I very wisely went back to bed and slept, and then woke up at probably about 6 or 7. And the sun had just started to melt everything. So I went a little bit quicker after that. Yeah, no, I wasn't going to be getting up at 4:30 and trudging through ice for the next few hours, as good as my ambitions were. That wasn't going to happen. But the day was pretty cruisy, so it wasn't particularly long coming in here into Spalding. And yeah, much of the scenery was like the last few days. It was grassy green hills, slightly overcast, a hint of a threat of rain, but nothing too big. Try not to step on sheep poo. Basically how you would imagine rambling through the countryside in England. It's basically what it's been like for the last few days. And yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been very cruisy as well, especially after a few weeks of going through the Flinders Ranges, which is obviously a fair bit rockier. And while I was out on the trail, one of the great Australian traditions happened to me. I got swooped several times by a very angry magpie. So he was not there to stuff about. I must have got swooped a dozen times within the space of 200 metres, 300 metres. He just kept on coming back and he was not happy at all. But then I made it here to Spalding and yeah, refreshed, had schnitzel parmigiano number 6, I think I'm up to. Yeah, it's a few. Yeah, I'll keep going though. They're delicious. And I mean, I obviously still need the weight. But yeah, so I'm going to take this opportunity while I've got power and a full battery to go through a couple of the questions that I've been asked over the first 26 days of the trip. And some of them date back to day 2, I think, that I still haven't answered. So sorry about the delay for those people who have flicked through questions over that time. But yeah, hopefully I can answer a few of them now. The first one being, what are your essential items? So my most essential items are my sleeping bag, because on nights like last night when it was literally freezing. The grass was frozen, the bench was frozen, my water bladder was completely rock solid frozen. Having a really rugged sleeping bag is essential, because if you don't sleep, then you're completely knackered for the next day and for the days preceding that. So my most essential item is probably my sleeping bag. Second to that is probably the insulated mattress, blow-up mattress that I put under that, which makes things a little bit comfier. But yeah, I guess everything that I'm carrying is essential. So there's my little gas canister that helps me cook up food and make me warm, and yeah, every little bit counts. And yeah, I'm pretty much happy with what I've got, because the next question was, is there anything that you wish you brought or you left behind? I guess there's 2 things that I wish I brought from the start. One of them is gloves, because first thing in the morning when you're trying to pack up and get going early and you can't actually move your hands because they're so cold, the gloves that I bought in Crystal Brook, I think, have helped me out so much. And yeah, they're something I wish I had from the start. And a little sewing kit and the ability to sew. So I'm getting a few holes in a few different things. Nothing too bad, but enough for it to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And yeah, so by the time I get to day 60, I'm just going to have items sprawling out everywhere because my compression sack's got a little nick in it. My bag itself has a little hole in it. A couple of pairs of pants that I've got have now developed holes from jumping over barbed wire fences. So yeah, there's a few things that might need to be serviced by the time I get to the end. But there's nothing really that I wish I'd left behind other than the completely non-essential items like a drone and a DSLR camera and a GoPro. I mean, there's things that I use very infrequently, but they have a greater cause, and yeah, hoping to piece all of those items together at the end to make something pretty special. So items that I wish I didn't have now, but I'm probably likely going to be very happy when I have at the end. Question number 2, is the trail marked well along the way? Absolutely, it is very well marked. However, particularly as a solo hiker, you just get lost in your own mind. So you're walking, you're thinking about what's sore, you're thinking about what you need to do over the next few days, making sure your food rationing's right, all sorts of random things going on in your head. So it is, in this case, very easy to lose the trail. I've lost it, catastrophically is the wrong word. I've lost it badly in one instance, and once a day I kind of drift off 20 metres, 25 metres, 50 metres from the trail mark and go, oh, it's over there. So it is very, very well marked, and the Friends of the Heysen Trail do a fantastic job in making sure that all of the markers are maintained. But yeah, it's more of a concentration thing rather than a navigational thing. Question number 3, how are my fitness levels? And am I getting sore? So the first week, as I expected, was hell. So everything was really sore, my body was adjusting, everything basically hurt at the end of the day and first thing in the morning. So lots of stretches, lots of stops, but by week 2, things had started to work themselves out. So it was until about week 3 that things were so totally cruisy, but I can just feel day on day things are starting to go back the other way. So I'm starting to get a little bit achier in the mornings. Every now and then things will kind of ping off. So yesterday walking in here to Spalding, I had really sharp pain in my left butt cheek basically. And so I had to stop and stretch, and I put some deep heat on it. I think I mooned the highway in the process. So hello to all the Spalding residents that might have got more than they bargained for that morning. But yeah, so things are starting to get a little sorer day on day. So by the time I get to Tanunda, which is in a bit under 3 weeks' time, I've got another rest day and a very much needed rest day at that. But other than that, things are doing perfectly fine. I haven't got any lingering injuries. We'll see how my glute goes today. And yeah, things are still relatively on track in terms of the physical state. Mentally, I feel fantastic. Mentally, I couldn't be in a better place. Again, we'll see how that goes, because once my physical problems start becoming a little bit more of an issue, I guess that's when the mental game kind of starts. And yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest issue. And over the next week, things could go either way. They could be really hard. They could continue on their merry way, or they could get easier again as my body continues to get stronger. So yeah, I hope that has answered some of your questions. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you tonight at Whistling Trig campsite. Catch you then.